and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO of Unity Technologies, John Riccioletto.
So, good morning, everyone. I'm John Riccioletto, and I could not be prouder than I am today, being one of the team representing Unity Technologies. Now, you all know Unity Technologies is the company that has created an engine, created a technology platform that allows game developers to do magic, to create games that entertain the world. We could not be prouder of what we do and what all of the developers do that support the entire world of gamers on a global basis. And today we're here to announce the next major leap in the history of Unity, and frankly I believe the history of the game industry. Today marks the global launch of Unity 5. Unity 5 is available right now. Now, what is Unity 5 all about? I'd pick out 4 major ideas to concentrate when you really want to understand what we're doing with Unity 5. The first, I think for the first time ever, it's fair to say that Unity represents the opportunity for graphics. We're a graphics powerhouse now. We can talk a lot about things like physical-based shading, real-time global illumination, all sorts of technical stuff. But what it's really about is you can make the world's most beautiful games when you're building in Unity 5. Secondly, cloud. What do we mean by that? What we mean is putting tools in the hands of developers so they can do things more efficiently, more effectively, faster. Now, we can talk all sorts of different pieces, cloud build, pro analytics. What you're going to see today is going to change the way you develop games going forward. Third, a feature-rich and highly flexible editor. There are more features in this editor than you could ever imagine. Pick out one example, one of my favorites is what we're doing with audio tools. We're essentially bringing a world-class mixer right into the game engine, something no one else does. And lastly, multi-platform support. Now, when we say multi-platform, we actually mean it. 21 platforms. Most of us can't name that many. We support all of them. We have always been about multiple platforms. So with that brief introduction, I'd like to show you what we do with Unity 5. If we can roll the video, please. Please. We will have so many great videos to show you later this morning. And at times like this, it calls for an impromptu restart of the video that is about to run, we hope. Thumbs up or thumbs down back there? That's it, up, I can't hear on the lights. Down. So for some reason our video is not running. We promise to show it to you later. And by the way, to the 12,000 people online, it will play for you at some point today. It'll be in our final edit. So with that, what I'd like to do now is introduce someone that really needs no introduction. Somebody that I am so proud to say I have the pleasure to work with every day. The guy that wrote the very first line of Unity over a decade ago. The co-founder of Unity Technologies, the CTO of Unity Technologies, and my friend, Joachim Monte.
Thank you. So thank you for being here. It's really a pleasure working with you as well. So, Unity 5. Unity 5 is a massive release. We have so many new features in it. IL to CPP, a game changer for scripting performance. We're debuting it on 2 platforms for now, and it will take it much more later. A physics upgrade, so you can do more stuff, more physical objects, more things going on the screen. 64-bit editor, so you can build bigger games, bigger assets, integrated new audio tools, animation improvements, so you can create directly in your animations, you can create intelligent behaviors. We have 57 pages of release notes. Takes a long time to get through, but there's a lot of stuff in there. But there's one thing in particular that I'm really proud of that we did in Unity 5, and that's what we try to build is we try to build a system where it's really easy to create beautiful content out of the box in Unity 5, to really make your scenes come to life in a beautiful way. So we built a couple of technologies to enable that. The first one is we added physically based shading so that it is very easy to create your materials, come up with values that work in any kind of lighting condition. We added support for real-time GI, so you can have bounce lighting, lighting from the sky affecting your objects. We added reflection probes so that all this lighting comes together consistently, you have good specular highlights and so on. Now, for Unity 5, we also built a couple of demos. We built demos in order to dog food on our own tools, in order to see how far we can really push Unity, and how far a small team can really push Unity. So we built a demo with a team of 3 people working inside of Unity, an artist, a graphics programmer, and an animator. There's also a couple of contractors that provided some of the artwork. Now, this project, it's called the Blacksmith, and it's running here in the standalone player. And let's see it. Thank you. So this project, it's also a really great demonstration of Unity 5. It uses all the different features together. Real-time GI is used extensively in this demo. It also runs on a normal PC. This is not some monster machine we have here. It's actually a normal gaming PC that real actual people out there have. So this is something that I believe on this level of quality, this is something you can create, you can ship games with when you're targeting PC. So one thing I also want to show you is how we actually created some of this very quickly, so you get a picture of it. So here's a scene that I'm going to focus on, where the blacksmith walks over the bridge. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to create that scene and show you a little bit of the lighting effects in Unity and how that all works. So I'm going to close this. And over here, we have the same scene in the editor, with all the color grading applied in the game view. I will switch here to the scene view. Here's the same scene running in the scene view. We have our very nice rocks on the side, the bridge, and the character walking over the bridge. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create that scene from scratch. So this is an empty scene in Unity 5. This is how it looks. There's a very simple skybox, and there's a directional light automatically placed when you create a new scene. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that bridge object here, drop it into the scene. And this is a very nice bridge. It's made with very good PBR assets with nice materials on it, and it's a very nice model. Now we're going to place some more objects. We have these cliffs here, and we're going to place those over here so it intersects a bit with the bridge, like so. Then we're going to duplicate this, and in this demo we haven't really built that many assets. We reused a lot of these assets. There's a lot of houses that are the same. There's a lot of rocks that are just copied around and scaled a bit and rotated, because we don't like to spend so much time actually making all these demos, and neither should you. So now we have our little bridge scene here, and also I'm going to place a plane like this, and that's basically going to represent our river that is running through this canyon here, approximately like this. And in Unity, in order for the bounce lighting to actually be happening, what we need to do is we need to mark these objects static, and lighting bounces off static objects and affects the dynamic objects, and the static objects are the same, but lighting bounces off the static ones. So what you can see is that in the background, when I'm placing these objects, Unity automatically figures out that something in the scene has changed. There's some static objects. It needs to pre-compute the data so that we can do the real-time GI. So it's doing this in the background. I have a couple more houses here that I'm going to place, like this one. Put that a little over here, like this. Place another one. Rotate it a little bit. Okay, cool. Oh, oops. And now we approximately have this shot over from that scene that we've been looking at earlier. Now, there's a lot of effects that make this lighting, and out of the box already, when you have an empty scene, there's already pretty decent lighting set up. But we'll go in and we'll try to understand how this lighting actually works. So we have this directional light, but first we're going to take that off, because there's basically three components in lighting that come together in the scene. The first one is lighting from the sky. So you can see the sky over here. It's rather bluish. And our materials, our PBR materials, they're lit by this skybox effectively. We can tweak that down, so we can make it much less. And also at the same time, we have reflection intensity. So that is basically the intensity of only the reflective part, which basically changes when you change the angle of the camera. So if we turn that on as well, then we have a completely black scene. So another thing we can do is we can assign different skyboxes. So we can take this skybox over here, and you can see immediately the lighting drastically changes based on the sky that I have. In this case, it looks a lot better because the sky has a lot more detail with all these clouds, and that actually makes the rocks and the bridge really stand out and look much better. Another part that we have in Unity 5 is when we turn these effects down here and we go back to the light, then we can see we have our light and our real-time GI that changes as I'm moving the light. So when I do this, of course we get very nice shadows, but also you can see there's actually bounce light. So we have this bounce intensity slider here. It's very easy. We turn it down like this. And this is basically the effect of bounce light. And in this case, there's lighting basically bouncing off the rocks and the bridge and the plane below and creating this nice effect. Now, you can also assign different materials to this. So we can make this plane below. We can take it and we can say make it red. And you can see immediately, just because this material is red, the bridge here gets a reddish tone as well. And this, of course, happens live. So as we change the color of the surface below, everything in the scene changes accordingly. And with that, I turn all the effects back on. And that is how quickly you can light a scene in Unity 5. It's real time. You can do this in the game while it's running. And all these effects together, they make it very easy to iterate really, really quickly and create a really good look for your scene. And this is how you can create a scene like we had in the Blacksmith project. The Blacksmith project, we will release it in the next coming months as a standalone player. And also we will extract small parts of it so you can really learn from it. We'll extract small parts, write blog posts about how these things were built so you can learn and really make these things yourself. So now we've seen some things that we have done ourselves at Unity internally. And now I would like to introduce Ryan Payton from our community. He has just released Republic Remastered. And welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Joachim. It's an honor to be here today. So yeah, we just released our game, Republic Remastered, just a few days ago. And before getting into my slides, maybe we should just start off by rolling the trailer.
Tonight, I tell my own story.
Good evening, citizens of Metamorphosis. As we make our final preparations, we must be extra vigilant. Keep a watchful eye out for our Republic. And in return, she will watch over you.
Please, I need your help. I don't have much time. Did you do that? They're right there.
How else under your cage? If the headmaster could see you now.
I pray you have not doomed us all, child.
Don't trust anybody, not even me.
The girl's infected, taking her to recalibration.
It is a secret between you and I.
They're coming. Let go.
Who is this? What do they know about our republic? There was no need for that. This one, I believe, will go quietly.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so our game, Republic, and our company, Camouflage, is very much the result of the freedom that the Unity engine provides. As you can see from our trailer, I'm very much about AAA. I have a AAA background. And it's on iOS and Android. And then last summer, we started to think about seriously taking the game to PC and Mac. But not just take the game to PC and Mac, not just port it like a lot of developers will do, but we needed a story. We needed something really, really good to get that demanding, hardcore audience really excited about our game. And so our team at Camouflage, we love adapting early and new Unity technology, whether it's various features in Unity 4, it's the Unity Cloud Build service. And when we saw Unity 5, we knew that was what we needed. That was the sexy new feature, especially those graphical features. That was what's going to make our PC version really special. So with Republic Remastered, we're really taking full advantage of Unity 5 and the physically based shader. This is an image from Unity 4 on iOS from episode 1 of Republic. And with the physically based, well, in Unity 4, I should say, a lot of the detail is there's fake detail baked into the textures. There's fake lighting baked into the textures. So when we transition the game from Unity 4 to Unity 5, you can see that the difference are striking. So what this allows, thank you. And this is, I didn't do it as the team back in Seattle, but they can hear you. So what the physically based shader does is it allows us to not fake how the game should look like. It's all based on real world properties. It allows the game's true beauty to shine through. There's another shot from Unity 4 in episode 2. It's a library. It's got a really nice, organic, earthy feel. In fact, I think it looks pretty damn good in Unity 4. But what we had to do here was, we had to fake the lighting. Our artist back in Seattle had to imagine, how is this room going to be lit in real life? And then in Unity 5, using Enlighten and the powerful new lighting system, you can see that the music, or the light is coming from the chandelier and lighting the world and lighting that space just how it would work in real life. And then finally, here's a shot from Unity 4 in episode 3 of the game. And this is a huge environment. I remember working on this back last summer. It's a 20-story huge server. We call it Terminus. And when we decided to bring it to Unity 5, you can see that not only does it look fantastic, but it's very performant. And that's due to a lot of the smaller features in Unity 5 that we might not have time to go over today, but that really allowed us to ship the game on time, performant, highly optimized. And these are things like the frame debugger, the profiler, and the 64-bit editor. So in closing, I just want to extend a huge thanks to the hardworking team at Unity for all their support. That really, Republic wouldn't be around. Our company may not even be around if it really wasn't for how they're democratizing technology, video game development with a small team like ours in Seattle. And we just released our game on Steam to really high reviews, really positive reviews from users and critics, and including one I'm going to call a quick audible. I was reading this last night from Hardcore Gamer. They gave our game Republic Remastered a 9 out of 10. And reading this review, one of the points they said was, of course, Republic Remastered's big selling point is not the controls, it's the graphics. Camouflage has spent months rebuilding Republic's assets to take full advantage of Unity 5's engine, and the results speak for themselves. That's an awesome statement. It's really due to all the hard working the guys at Unity, so I really appreciate that. And speaking of a hard worker and a great supporter of Camouflage, my friend Todd Hooper I'd like to introduce for the next session. Awesome to go. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you, Ryan. Hi, everyone. I'm Todd. It's great to be here today. You know, Ryan, it's games like Republic is why everyone at Unity gets out of bed every morning and goes to work. So thank you for choosing Unity. So when you think about Unity, it is at its core a tool for creative people, for developers, designers, and artists. Teams like Ryan and the team at Camouflage. We also recognize, though, that we can do more to help those developers ship great games by giving them more engineering firepower and using the power of the cloud. So if you go and talk to those developers today, all of them joined this fantastic industry of ours. Number one reason is because they love games, not necessarily because they love engineering. And one of the ways that we want to help those teams ship games is taking time-consuming engineering chores like build engineering and automating them with Unity Cloud Build. So how does that work? It's very simple. You have your Unity project today. It's in a Subversion, Git, or Perforce repository. Every time you make a change to that project, we detect that and we kick off a build of the game in the cloud in the background. You don't have to do anything. This occurs automatically. When the build's ready, we send you an email. You can install that build directly onto your mobile device or play it right in the browser, or you can share that link with people that need to test the build or check it out. It's very, very simple to do. And why do our developers care about that? Because you can concentrate on making a great game and not spending all of your time doing build engineering, which is effectively a development chore for a lot of our folks. So in the 4 months of beta since we announced Unity Cloud Build last year, we've had over 150,000 builds created, and we've saved over 4,500 days of developer time. And 4,500 days of fantastic Unity developers making great games. We feel pretty good about that. So Unity Cloud Build is here. It's available right in the menu in Unity 5. And as we committed last year, there's a free tier for all Unity developers, so you can get on and access it right now. Please do so. It's at that address, build.cloud.unity3d.com. We have a pro tier for $25 a month that offers a few extra features. And for the very large customers, studio and enterprise customers that need dedicated build servers, we've got you covered as well. So we're really looking forward to seeing what extra cool things you put in your games with all the time that you're going to save with Unity Cloud Build. Of course, when you're building a great game, it's not just about shipping the game, it's also about being financially successful. So let me tell you a story about an Australian indie developer. Two guys out in a remote town in Victoria, Ballarat actually, some of my countrymen. They spent 12 weeks developing a very polished mobile game. And it's based on one of the classics that many of the people here, if you're as old as I am, probably played as a kid. And while they were building the game, they chose Unity ads for their monetization. You've probably heard of the studio. It's called Hipster Whale, and the game is Crossy Road. It's a smash hit on mobile. So we want to help those developers make money. And you've seen in the press that the guys at Hipster Whale made $1 million in 45 days with Unity ads. I'm excited to tell you today that that total is now $3 million to date on iOS. So congrats to the team at Hipster Whale. It's a beautiful game. If you haven't played it, please check it out. But you know what? There's many, many fine games like Crossy Road out there that we want to see those developers do just as well. So in February last month, Unity ads, we had over 1,500 new games go live, and 4 of the top 10 free games on iOS were powered with Unity ads. So really, we want to make mobile monetization a seamless experience with Unity ads, and we want every Unity developer to find the financial success to go along with their creative success. Thanks.
Thanks, Todd. That was fantastic. So you've now learned a little bit more about Unity 5. You've learned about more of our services. At some moment, at some point, we have to talk price, the mysterious business model. And this is often where a company shows its true values and principles. Now, at Unity, our principles are clear. We're about solving hard technical problems so our developers can get on to the good work of making great games. We're about democracy, putting powerful tools in the hands of developers, whether they can afford them or not. And when it comes to pricing, we're about providing big, big value. Now, some of you might have wondered if, when I was appointed the CEO of Unity, whether this was a harbinger of a price increase or something worse. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. We're values-led, principles-driven, solving the hard problems, democracy. And when we mean value, we mean big value. So here I'm going to talk to you about 2 business models. The first of them is for Unity 5 Professional Edition. Now, with Unity 5 Professional Edition, you get everything that Joachim showed you this morning. An unbelievable step forward from Unity 4 to Unity 5. And you get a bunch of services included in the package. Everything from the team license to Cloud Build Pro to analytics and a bunch more. And in terms of pricing, It's exactly the same as it was with Unity 4. Starting at $75 a month or $1,500 for a buyout, perpetual license, you get everything, and there are no royalties. We think this is singularly the best value for a studio in the gaming industry today. A huge, huge value. Now, secondly, I want to introduce you to Unity 5 Personal Edition. And this is where democracy comes alive. It's where our values live, and it's what we spend a lot of time thinking about. What we want here is for every developer on the planet, again, whether they can afford the tools or not, to have the power of Unity 5.0 to create the best possible games, the most beautiful games, the most intricate games, games that make them proud. And we believe that democracy is what underpins a huge part of the health of the game industry. So today we're announcing Unity 5.0 Personal Edition. Everything that we showed you today. And now this is a product that, as I said, for not everyone can afford the tools. This is a product for developers with revenues of under $100,000 or funding of under $100,000. But let me tell you what the business model is. It's free. Absolutely free. No royalties. Our belief and hope is independent developers just getting started, college students, hobbyists, they're going to change the world with the most beautiful games the world has ever seen and aspire for the very top of the charts. So that's our pricing. That's Unity 5. That's where we're going. Professional, Unity 5.0 Professional, same pricing as 4, a massive upgrade and a bunch of services. Unity 5.0 Personal Edition, it's made for the little guy, it's made for the independent, made for the professional that chooses not to charge. Absolutely free, no royalties. I think that's the best business model in gaming. So you've now heard from a whole bunch of folks from Unity. And sometimes I think it's important to get an independent perspective. Someone not from inside of Unity and someone that has a great deal to say about game engines today. Someone with a deep expertise. And so, looking through the Rolodex, I started thinking a little bit about that. And there is somebody out there that knows as much about game engines as we do inside of Unity, which is truly a lot. Someone that has got a master's and a PhD in computer science, and somebody that I'm truly proud to call my friend. Up on the stage, I would like to welcome Mr. Mike Capps. Mike?
Hey, John.
Take it away.
Thanks. Hey, guys. Free is a pretty good deal. How do you make money? All right, anyway, it's not my problem. So I'm as surprised as you guys to be up here today, so I'm going to try to explain why. If I can give you a little bit of my history, before I got into the games business and then for a while the games engine business, I was a computer science professor. I focused on building tools for virtual worlds, and back in the mid-90s, because I'm old, there were like 3 3D games, a bunch of academic projects that weren't going anywhere, some super expensive military simulations, and all of them were reinventing the wheel every time with big teams, a lot of money, and a couple geniuses at the helm. So my focus was working with a number of teams, first in academia and then in military world, trying to change that paradigm. So I'm a pretty big fan of anything that puts tools in the hands of developers to make them stop creating the wheel again and again or worrying about the roads, making really fast, sexy red cars or electric cars or autonomous cars or whatever, focusing on the real problems like the stuff you've seen today. So John asked me, will you get up and say that Unity 5's graphics are a big deal, that it will hugely impact the quality of games and virtual realities, which I think we're all thinking about. And I said yes. I can't resist sharing this message of democratization because I think it's really important. Come with me, slides. You can do it. There we go. All right. So the physically based shading and the real-time GI that you just saw in all these demos are free to everyone, right? Right now, you probably should be leaving the room and going and downloading it. So to bridge this gap between the sort of hyper-realistic computer-generated movies of the last few years and the next real-time games, AAA budgets are going to go down. That's great. That's my history, is building big games. And when I can think of ways to speed up the development of those games, it makes me happy. But I'm even more excited about taking these movie quality tools and putting them in the hands of the smallest indies all over the world. That's super important to the health, the creativity, the innovative progress of our games industry. And so because I'm a professor, I warned you about that up front, I'm going to explain why this stuff is such a big deal, how physically based shading enables better quality results in less time. Zap. So first of all, computer graphics has been for 40 years about approximating reality, right? When we're talking about Republic and faking reality, that's what we were always doing, but the hardware has advanced so much in the last few years, we can kind of discard all these old models of diffuse plus specular and discard the art as well. As you saw, we get this giant step forward in realism, and it's kind of like, if you remember console gen before last, we went from vertex lighting to pixel shading, and it was just this massive jump in quality, and we're seeing the same thing again right now. I think maybe more exciting is because these approximations that we're using today are so much closer to physical reality, production's more straightforward because lighting works like you would expect it to. There's a list of the BS tweak and repeat and paint it in and cycle stuff that was such a bane of game development for, I guess, the last 15 years. We're using the unchanging real physical properties of real objects. So when you talk about the albedo diffuse reflectivity of bronze, well, you can look it up. Right? You don't have to tweak and render and repeat and see what it looks like, even though I guess you can do it with the cool new cloud build stuff or whatever. You don't need to do that because you can just look it up. And having this consistent basis of lighting and the interaction between objects starts letting you experiment. I'm a big fan of being able to create reality first and then creating something surreal on top of that experience. And you have to be able to start with that reality basis, and that's really easy to do now with physically based shading. So you've got these ultra realistic objects, and then the next stage is how do you interact between them? How do you light them and have them bounce the lighting towards each other? And Enlighten and real-time GI solve a ton of problems in that cycle because it's really fast and easy to create realistic bounce lighting, just like Joachim showed us earlier. To me, every art team I've ever worked with has a vision of what they want that is a beautiful vision. And the problem has always been, how long does it take to get to that? How many man hours? How much time do we spend modeling? Can we ever get there? A lot of teams never get to realize their vision. So if you can speed up iteration times, like you can with real-time GI, you're going to get there faster, or at least have a chance of getting there that you never had before. Because you can pre-compute geometric visibility once, and then you can change lights, you can change materials, and get instant updates of those bounce lights, regardless of how big your scene is. So imagine that you pull the wood chair out and put a gold throne in the same spot. Suddenly, that's warmly bouncing onto the carpet, and you get realistic lighting without doing anything the next frame. You can take the blue skybox with clouds and replace it with purple animating neon if you want. It'll look terrible, but it'll look realistic, right? You'll have purple neon everywhere in your world, and you'll get it the next damn frame. It's awesome. All right, so don't do that, but my point is you could do that if you wanted to. So what I'm saying, I guess, is that high-end visuals are in everyone's reach, and you've got small teams that can now realize the big dreams that they've always had. Unity touches millions of developers, thousands of teams, and it's super fast and easy to make beautiful high-end graphics in a way it never was before. And it's free, and you can download it today. So yes, John, I will get up on your stage and tell everybody that's fucking awesome. Okay. It is. And I don't work here, so I can use bad language. So I'd like to end with a beautiful proof point about what a really small, dedicated team can do in a short amount of time. I got to meet these Envive guys earlier. It's 4 folks. They're architectural previs people. Never made a game before, never used the tech. They've been working on this for 4 months, and I get to unveil their first game project today. 4-man team, 4 months. Let's take a look at what you can do with Unity 5. Thanks, John.
Next, I get to introduce one of the great people that make Unity the company it is today. Will Goldstone's going to come on up, and Will's going to show you some things that are, show more about Unity 5 you've seen so far. Will's one of our content managers. He does amazing work. Will, come up on stage and show these guys all the cool stuff you do.
Thank you, John. So we've already heard about some of the amazing new advancements in Unity 5. Joachim showed you real-time global illumination. He showed you physically-based shading, reflection probes, all of these incredible new tools that are going to allow you to create even more beautiful games than ever before. What I wanted to talk about is some of the other additions to Unity 5, and really there are a hell of a lot, but let's get started with 64-bit editor. So you're going to be able to create much larger worlds than ever before. A PhysX 3.3 upgrade, all new rigid bodies, cloth simulation, vehicle physics, character animation additions, asset bundles, a huge list of features that we did try and fit on the slide at some point, but then we realized that it just looked horrible, so we didn't bother. So we have, as has been said, a release notes list as big as a phone book. But what I wanted to do is zero in on a feature that I really care about. It's something I'm passionate about as a musician, as someone who cares about sound, and that's the new audio system in Unity 5. So the new audio system in Unity 5 gives you a full professional multi-track mixer. It gives you the kind of effects and workflows that people who are doing professional sound design and music production are used to. If you've used Cubase, Pro Tools, GarageBand, all of these kind of things, you'll be used to these kind of tools. But crucially, they're tailored for game development, and they're going to be simple enough for everyone to learn. And by the way, before I forget, if you do want to learn them, come and check out our new tutorials, which will tell you exactly how to do that. So it's the first time that these kind of tools have been deeply integrated into a game engine. And the power of that is really incredible. And I don't really want you to take my word for it, so what I want you to do is just have a quick look at this demo, and I'll show you exactly the kind of power I'm talking about. So this is another one of our new demo projects. You'll see it kind of plastered all over the place. It's called Unity Labs, and in this demo, we are in the audio lab at the moment. In the audio lab, we have a glass chamber where our character goes to kind of kick back, listen to his favorite tunes. Now, as a gamer, what I would expect is that when I can see there's some speakers in there, I know that there's music going on in the chamber. I want to be able to walk around the chamber and hear some of that music kind of bleed through, and then when the doors of the chamber open, I want to hear that music really come to life. So let's have a listen to how that sounds. So as you can hear, there is music coming through the chamber. So obviously I'm inquisitive. I'm going to wander my way around and hear what it actually sounds like. So as you can hear from this, the music changes dramatically between these two spaces. And the power of that comes from this new feature that we call snapshots. So snapshots are a super powerful tool. And what they do is allow you to create variations on the mix of your sound and music within the game. So in this context, we have one snapshot for inside of the chamber and another for outside. So when you're outside the chamber, we apply a low-pass filter effect. This tunes out all of the high frequencies of the sound and the music, and we also drop the music in the mix. For the snapshot of inside the chamber, we remove that low-pass filtering, add reverb to make the sound really kind of bounce around. So these kind of professional effects allow you to create this kind of realistic scenarios in your games. And it means that when you're working with Unity 5, you're going to be able to create a whole new level of fidelity. So these kind of professional tools are throughout Unity 5. And most importantly, they're tied into the workflows that you guys are already used to. And the great thing about this is that although we have a whole bunch of different effects like reverb and low pass and distortion and compression, all of these things that you're going to be able to make use of, there's other great effects as well. So for example, another one I wanted to call out is ducking. So if you have sound effects, if you have voiceover that you need to compress the sound of music or diegetic sound, then you can use ducking with just a couple of clicks. And ducking basically means that you take one track and tell it to compress the sound of another so that all of your voiceover, all your sound effects really pop out of the mix. And that's a really powerful tool. So we've got all kinds of different tools in this new audio system. But the great thing about the audio system, like the rest of Unity, it's completely extensible. It doesn't end with what we ship. You'll be able to write your own effects. You'll be able to write your own plugins. You can make virtual instruments if you want to. And of course, if you don't want to, you're going to benefit from the huge community of people that are making extensions for this tool. So basically, it's a fantastic system. I hope you guys have a lot of fun with it. Like I said, come and check it out on the booth. Come and check out the tutorials. And with that, I'm done. I'm going to hand you over to Ralph Howard, who's going to talk to you about multi-platform.
Hi, everyone. So, yeah, I'm Ralph, and I get to talk about multi-platform support. And to be honest, the clicker doesn't work. Oh, there we go. Industry-leading multi-platform support. And that's a great marketing term, but I kind of, for this presentation, had to understand what that's really about. So I started looking at what that means. 21 platforms. I had to double check. I actually had to double check and count. 21 platforms. That's an incredible number of platforms that are available in Unity 5. So as a developer, the power to author once and then actually be able to deploy to any of or all of those 21 platforms is invaluable because you can deploy to where your players are. You know, you can start either on one single platform and get success there and start bringing it to more platforms, or you can start on many, if not all, of the platforms that we're supporting. Now, the important thing here is that we, as the developers at Unity, you know, we do the heavy lifting. We're not only your engine team, we're not only your editor team, but we're also your platform porting team. And that is one of the core strengths of using Unity for your games. One thing I'm really excited about to talk about today is a new platform that we're introducing with Unity 5, and it's WebGL. I'm really excited about it personally because as a developer who's been making web content and web games myself, but also as one of the people who actually started experimenting with WebGL in Unity at the beginning. You know, we did this hack week 3 years ago, and we started looking at if this was viable, if it was something we could do or even wanted to do. And we had to build this crazy technology stack. Both us and our friends at Mozilla, who've been partnering with us on this, have been building this crazy technology stack to make it work. And the reason why we wanted to do that is because WebGL is a very, very good platform. And I'll give you one of its core strengths. There's no plugin. So you can send your players a link, they can click on that link, and they can start playing. No, there's no barriers. So I'm going to show you a couple of titles. We can roll the video on this. Already ported with Unity 5 to WebGL. This is Dead Trigger. While that's running, I'm going to talk a little bit about the technology that we had to build, or actually, in this case, the technology built by our friends at Mozilla. ASM.js. This allows you to achieve native-like performance using just normal JavaScript. You know, it's JavaScript that runs everywhere, but on browsers that optimize for it, it runs a lot faster. I'm saying near native, it's like 1.2x. So when we started looking at WebGL, the first time we really started looking, just experimenting 3 years ago, you know, this was not really viable. But today, it is, thanks to technology like ASM.js. Now, by now we're looking at Jack Lumber by Alchemy, and the other title that's in here is, I believe, Ah for the Awesome. I always forget how many Ahs. But Ah for the Awesome is a title that was also shipped with the Humble Bundle. And I want to call out one thing that they did with those titles, and that was they actually did their own cloud integration. What that means is that not only could they just send somebody a link and people could log in, start playing, those people could then log off, go to work, log in, and continue playing where they left off. So that's one of the strengths, you know, in a platform like WebGL. Content transfers with the users. Now, I'd love to talk more about WebGL, but I have a little special something reserved, so I'm going to refer you to one of the sessions at our Dev Day today, the WebGL session, and go there so that I have a little bit of time to give you a sneak preview of the web, or gaming on the web. As I said, the root of our WebGL work lied in experimentation, and that doesn't stop with 5. We're going to continue evolving this platform together with our partners and friends. And this specific work we've done with Mozilla, and this is about WebGL 2. They kind of approached us to, you know, hey, can't we show off what we can do with WebGL 2 on Unity 5? So I'm going to start this demo. It's an amazing amount of content, so it might take a little while to load. And I'm going to show you that this is just a browser. I'm hoping all of it will go well. Yes, there we go. So I'm going to full screen this, which is available through the media APIs and browsers. So you might recognize this demo. Anyone recognize it from last year when we showed this on desktops? We showed this on the desktop standalone playing running natively. Now, today, what we did that demo for back then was to show off physically based shading, reflection probes, and advanced shader effects in Unity 5. Today, that same demo, running in a browser using WebGL 2. So I said, this is experimental work that we're doing now, but what we're really trying to say is like we're heavily investing in WebGL. We think it has a great future. We're really looking forward to see what you can do with this. So go download Unity 5, start playing with WebGL. This demo, I guess we'll have, or it's already online, is the original, so I'm going to cut this off a little bit more about things I'm very excited about. And to be honest, I'm a really lucky guy because this is my favorite feature. IL to CPP. IL to CPP. Now, our marketing team probably hates me for that word. Or actually the entire dev team that came up with that nice technical acronym. You know, it might be a not very marketable name, but behind that little term sits truly game-changing technology. And when I mean game-changing, I'm going to show you why I say that. Now, I'm a developer, and I'm going to not fully geek out. I can talk about this for 2 hours. I can explain you all the ins and outs of why it works and how it works. But I'm going to try and encapsulate it in a little snippet. And you know, I might mess it up. Let's see. IL to CPP is a CIL to C++ ahead-of-time cross-compiler and runtime for fast scripting. Short as I could get it, but you don't have to worry about it. Game-changing and performance, those are the things you have to think about. So let me show you a little bit of some of the testing we've done in terms of performance. Well, this is a fairly simple ray-traced image. It's done with using a C# script, you know, the language in which you program Unity. It's ray-traced, it's computationally very, very heavy. Now, it might not have practical applications in games today to do it like that. You know, the ray tracing itself does, but maybe not through this path. But what it does have is a practical application for us to look at the speed of IL to CPP. So the first bar, the one that says 5.7 seconds, is without IL to CPP. It takes 5.7 seconds to render that image to screen. Now, we took IL to CPP to an iPhone 6, started running it on 32-bit. Now we're down to 1.6 seconds. Then we took it to iOS 64, and it's 64-bit support that we have in Unity 5, and it was halved, 0.62 seconds. That's over an 8-time speed increase, 8 times. Now, that benchmark is synthetic. You know, ray tracing 4 balls, you can probably build a few games around that concept, but you know, practically it's more for benchmarking than it is for use in a game today. So could we roll the video on this? I took something from the asset store called the A-Star Pathfinding project and started running that with IL to CPP and without IL to CPP on an iPhone 5S. What it does is we have a number of agents that want to move around and avoid each other, and it's quite computationally heavy. And as you can see, that without IL to CPP, as we're up to 1,024 agents, we've now dropped to 14 FPS, 14 frames per second. If you're targeting your game to run at 30 frames per second, you've already lost now. But if you look at what happens with IL to CPP, we're still happily running at 40 frames per second, and you still have time to spare in your game. That's what we mean with game changing. So, as Joachim already said, we're shipping IL to CPP with 2 platforms with Unity 5.0, WebGL and iOS. In future updates, we're going to bring this to all Unity platforms. This allows you to rethink what you can do in your game. It is the ease of use of C# with native performance. I'm really excited about this. I hope you are too. So, another thing I'm excited about and talking about today is consoles. I keep on messing that word. I'm European, you'll have to forgive me. Over the last 2 years, we've seen a giant amount of developers taking Unity titles to console platforms. I messed it up again. So before Unity 5, all our products were separate. All our console products were separate downloads. There were separate editors that you had to download. There were different versions of the main version. With Unity 5, I'm happy to tell you that's over. All consoles will be introduced as add-ons to Unity 5.0. So you download the add-on and it works with the main editor, with Wii U following this soon in a future update. Now, even better, with Unity 5, through all our partnerships with these platform owners, all these platforms are free for approved developers. So what does that mean? Well, that means go download Unity 5, start making your game, go talk to our friends at Microsoft, at Sony, and at Nintendo, and publish your game to their platforms. Now, of course, there's a lot more to tell about mobile too. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually have somebody on stage from the community, somebody already successful with mobile titles, somebody already building titles with Unity for mobile devices today. So with that, let me invite John Erner, founder and CEO of SpaceApe. Thanks very much.
Hi, thanks John Ricoletto. Thanks Unity. Really appreciate being here. Unity is one of the tools that is the underpinning of our entire business, so I really appreciate the chance to stand up here, and I'm sure that that's true of many other developers as well. SpaceApe Games is a 2-year-old mobile gaming company based in central London. Our mission is to make the highest quality and the most commercially successful mobile games in the world. There are 2 billion people today who have smartphones, and by 2020, 80% of all adult human beings will carry a smartphone in their pocket. The last thing they'll do before they go to bed, and the first thing they will do when they wake up the next morning, is to look at that smartphone. It's the biggest gaming platform that has existed and feasibly can exist in history, and that creates a huge opportunity. And SpaceApe is going after that opportunity. So every journey begins with a first step, and our first step was a total failure. It's an experience I'm sure many of you can relate to. We made a game, spent a few months on it, we were proud of it. It didn't work. We'd been through half of our funding at that point. And we really fell in love and discovered Unity at this point because we used it to prototype a few different ideas. After about a month of using Unity to quickly get some games together, we spent 6 months making and 2 months testing a game called Samurai Siege in beta. And a mere 8 months later, after a complete failure, we launched the game globally in 148 different countries. We were making, by a month later, $60,000 a day. And in the last 18 months, our company, on the back of Samurai Siege, has generated $23 million in revenue. We're live in, it's cool. I like it. The game's been installed 12 million times. 1.5 million people play it every month, 300,000 people every day. It's live in 150 countries. And we've used all of that success to expand our company, to increase our capabilities, and go from being a small little company to a slightly less small company. We're now 70 people. Our employees represent 22 different countries, all of us in London. We're working on 3 games, and the second of them is going live in a month or 2, and I'll share it with you in a moment. When we look back on the decision to adopt Unity, we think it's the best technical call we ever made as a company. There's basically 3 reasons why that's the case. And the first you've heard from other people this morning. It lets us as game developers focus on making good games. When you've got a team of 10 or 20 people, you really want them understanding the player, making fun and delightful experiences, and not having to worry about their tools. And on the flip side, mobile gaming is extremely competitive. There are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of developers. The quality of these devices offers unparalleled gaming experiences akin to what you can find on a console. And so you've got this dichotomy of not being able to put time into your tools, but also needing to keep up with the Joneses on your tech. And we think that Unity offers a perfect solution to that problem. In effect, our engine team is over 100 people strong. They're at Unity, and they allow us to do our jobs better. So the second reason is Unity keeps getting better. When we adopted Unity about 18 months ago, it was good. Today, it's great, and with the launch of Unity 5, it becomes fantastic. It's really nice to know when you're a small little developer, when you're just trying to survive and trying to get to that stage one day where maybe you'll thrive, that your tools team is the same sort of company, that they're understanding of how quickly the market is changing, that they make it easy for you to get to different platforms, and they let you be a nimble, adaptable mammal like we are at SpaceApe. The third reason is it makes important things really easy for us to do as a company. And I can summarize this with one single example. When Apple announced iOS 8, not too long ago, they introduced a feature called Metal. Metal allows you to bring awesome graphics to high-end iOS 8 compatible devices. And with Unity 5 and the tick of a box, you can bring Metal to your game just like that. And so suddenly your game looks that much more beautiful. We're using that technology to make a ultra mode for high-end devices so that our players can have experiences that look a lot like a PS4 does. I'll add a fourth bonus reason, a timely one. It's an affordable price, and take this from a free-to-play guy. Free plus 5% of your gross is not free. That's millions of dollars. So I think a good way to show off some of this technology is to give you a sneak peek of Rival Kingdoms. So Rival Kingdoms is a core real-time strategy game. It is based on 18 months of learning how to operate Samurai Siege live. We're really proud of it. We think it's really beautiful. The backstory is written by Rihanna Pratchett. The music by Richard Jacques. And the team that developed it, in my humble opinion, is the best team in the world at making games space safe. We have worked on this game, added so many features, put so much into it, and we've done that all in a year and all with 15 people. That's really impressive. It's so cool that in this modern era, you can make this kind of game with such a small team, and one of the key ways that we got that done is with Unity. So thank you very much, Unity. Thank you, John, and we're looking forward to having you play this game. It's in a few test markets right now. It'll be live this spring, coming to a mobile phone near you. Thank you.
Hey, John, congratulations on all your success with Space 8. Rival Kingdoms looks awesome. So continuing with what Ralph was doing, which is sort of clocking through all of our platforms, there's one more platform we want to talk about, and that's virtual reality. Now, virtual reality has the promise to change gaming in a way that I think almost nothing in the history of gaming ever has. It's also likely to change the way we entertain ourselves, how we communicate. It is, in fact, the new frontier, something we're very, very proud to support at Unity. Now, one of our greatest partnerships is with a small little company, now a fast-growing and massive company, called Oculus. And I would love to talk about that and rattle on about VR because I'm such a huge fan. But rather than listen to me, I think it's way cooler to listen to today's modern founder of the industry, the founder of Oculus, and a really all-around cool guy, Palmer Luckey.
Sorry for being here. It's great to be here. Thank you, John. I'm really excited about Unity 5 and what it means for the Oculus community, especially because the majority of the virtual reality experiences we've seen built so far have been built using Unity. I'm also really excited about Unity 5 Personal Edition, making Unity available to everybody. John was talking about how it's making powerful tools available to everyone. And we're trying to do a lot of the same things. We're trying to make virtual reality available to everyone, not just consumers, but developers who want to make cutting-edge experiences. And I think that Unity 5 Personal Edition is going to help give people the tools they need to make really powerful VR experiences, even as a poor indie. Can't wait to see where that goes. See, that's what happens when nothing moves. Anyways, so we've been collaborating for over 2 years with Unity, and the results are awesome. We've actually just launched an alpha for built-in native Oculus support in Unity 5. It's been really great working with the Unity team. I have to say it's a big change since the bad old days when we were stuck as a plugin and really, janking everything together to try and make it work. But it is really smooth and seamless now. We have the ability to preview and publish to Rift and Gear VR instantly, so that you can share not just with your team members, but also with the public as easily as you would have been able to share on mobile or PC as just a traditional gaming target. We've also made huge gains on performance. Things like optimized scheduling, improved CPU, GPU parallelism, multi-view rendering, asynchronous time warp, and late latching, which we just posted about on our blog, all combined to result in latency savings of between 10 and 20 milliseconds, depending on how slow your game already was. A lot of the new improvements and features that make it easier than ever to make high-quality VR experiences are already in this alpha. And we're going to be launching the full open public beta later this month so that everybody can have access to these features. And I think that's going to be super exciting. So let's clap. Another thing that we wanted to talk about is the virtual reality mobile game jam that we're running. I think it's running from April 11th to May 11th, from April 13th to May 11th. We're really excited about that. We're trying to get people to make great virtual reality content for Gear VR and other Oculus mobile platforms. And we've partnered with Unity yet again to provide $50,000 in Unity Asset Store credits to the teams that are participating. Every team will get a free $50 Asset Store voucher that they can use for models, tools, environments, whatever they need to make virtual reality content. And we're doing that, as part of our mission, I think our shared mission, of making great tools available to everyone to make incredible virtual reality experiences using Unity 5. I'm super excited to keep working with everybody at the Unity team. It's been a real blast. It's gotten better over time. So thanks, John. You're the best.
Thanks, Palmer. That's really fantastic, and we could not be more proud of our partnership with Oculus. So I'd like now to introduce our last speaker of the day. And the next guy up is somebody you just can't have a Unity event without. He is a true visionary, and in many ways, an architect of the industry. He's also one of the co-founders of Unity. He's a close personal friend, and in so many ways, he's my personal hero. David Helgeson, come up on stage and take it home.
You got a hug. Hey. Fantastic. Isn't it wonderful? I was watching this and thinking back to the old days and all that, and just how far we've come, and what a big impact we're having on the industry, and it's really humbling. And the thing that I'm the most proud of having been part of Unity for 12 years now is how bloody ambitious we are. How we always push ourselves and how we never settle. And at some point we had made a very good engine. It was used for more mobile games than not almost, and it's great. But we believe that's not a kind of a steady state. We got to push to the most advanced graphics, to the most productivity, to the most flexibility, and be the very, very best kind of imaginable engine. Of course, we're not there, but we're always heading in that direction. And today, the sort of really big thing is, of course, Unity 5, something that is, just I couldn't have imagined a few years ago that we could have gotten there. We had to really think deeply about, how to bring technology further. We had to hire a lot of smart people, and we just had to exert ourselves really, really hard. The graphics are insane, but also the productivity, the asset pipelines, how you work with Unity, the cloud build, and our other cloud tools that we're bringing out now at a sort of increasing clip. It's only something we started working on in the last couple of years. The flexible editor, which I know is kind of a favorite feature of everyone who uses Unity, the fact that Unity is not just a tool, it's kind of a platform for your tools. And with the asset store, it really becomes this kind of, incredible, powerful kind of, positive reinforcement of the community and a great way for the whole game industry, frankly, to work together. It's really amazing to see, millions and millions of downloads from the asset store powering people's productions. It's crazy. And then, of course, the cross-platformness, which is a pretty good example of the ambition level, right? We started with several platforms, like Mac, later PC, web, and at some point when iOS was clearly becoming a thing, we moved in very quickly and decided to be first and best there, and we became that. Did the same on Android. And that's hard enough, for a small company to support multiple platforms with the same code base and the same tooling is really, really hard. And we had to sort of reinvent ourselves several times in that process. But then at some point that was kind of getting easy, or at least manageable. So we went to 21 platforms, something that's basically not possible. and we could only do it with, of course, the help of you, buying our software, with the help of our partners who really kind of spent a lot of energy and resources with us to make sure that all the platforms can be supported. And in the end, the ability for teams, even really, really small teams, to move across platforms, it's pretty crazy. You go back 5 years in this industry, like, even a 40-person team would have a hard time going to more than 2-3 platforms. Now we see 2 to 3-person teams going to 8 platforms, several console platforms. It's completely insane. And like Ralph said, we are your porting team as well as your engine team and a few other things. So that's really amazing. And it's all pointed in one direction, to democratize the industry, to make more people be more productive, to make better games, and make more people successful in this industry. And in the end, hopefully make the industry bigger, more creative, and more fun. It's really, really amazing to be able to do this. And the people we're doing it for is you, the community, right? And of course, at the end, we are just this kind of humble little thing that we put in the hands of you, and you build the real stuff. We're hidden from the actual gamers, from the people who enjoy this stuff. So I'm going to roll a little video of some of the sort of our favorite things that are happening out there, and just sit back and watch. It's pretty beautiful. Seriously, it's the most crazy thing. And all this thanks to almost 550 team members of Unity company now, working insanely hard for this, and putting out release after release after release. Now actually down to every 1 or 2 weeks we can put out updates to you. And every release is a love letter from us to the gaming community and to you guys. And I just want to say thanks for being part of this, and thanks to the 800,000 people who use Unity every month to create something. It's really wonderful. So I want to just welcome you to GDC. There's of course the developer day today. We're going to show a lot of Unity 5, talk about a lot of the things we're doing in much more detail. There's our booth, 1402. Come there and get demos, meet the engineers, meet the people. And of course, most of all, just go to unity3d.com and download the Unity 5. Thank you for listening.